It is my sincere pleasure to welcome you to Emerald Mountain School's 8th grade graduation. As we enjoy the sandhill cranes bugling on the lake and the cows grazing in the pastures, I want to take a moment to thank Jay Fetcher for offering this beautiful setting to celebrate our graduates. Class of 2020, this day marks a significant moment in your personal journey and one that did not arrive without an unusual amount of sacrifice as you stayed at home to protect others and to ensure our local healthcare resources were not overwhelmed during a global pandemic. I wish I could have written a different ending to your time at EMS, and yet I'm incredibly proud of how you sustained your work ethic, stayed connected to your classmates and teachers, and maintained optimism. There's a saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and that was never more true than this spring as parents were thrust into the role of teacher. Grandparents, you have offered your unconditional support, and I've enjoyed having you as part of the EMS family. You even zoomed into speeches and assemblies this year, and I want to thank you for joining us today in celebration of the class of 2020. Parents, you entrusted Emerald Mountain School with your child's education, and for that, I could not be more grateful. You have been there every step of the way as true partners in your child's journey. You served on the board, volunteered in our strings program, chaperoned middle school outdoor education trips, planned the auction, cleared leaves off the roof, served on parent council, created the school yearbook, and in the last several weeks, supervised your child's education from home. EMS has benefited from your many contributions, but most importantly, you have shown your children what it means to be a part of a community. I also want to give a shout out to the Board of Trustees who could not be here today. But I just want to say that your leadership and support over the last few years have put EMS in a strong position. Thank you for your dedication to our mission, which allows our students to build confidence and dream big. And finally, I want to recognize our remarkable faculty and staff. Your creativity, passion, and dedication inspire our students. In this March, you were asked to do the impossible, and you transformed your entire craft in 2 days, ensuring that students' well-being remained at the center of your efforts. As a result, no student fell behind, and we maintained a sense of community, albeit remotely. It has not been easy for any of us, and I'm grateful for this incredible team of colleagues. Thank you. You can clap. We can clap for all these people. It's good. It's a good thing. Members of the class of 2020, you are benevolent, thoughtful, and gentle, qualities that are too often overlooked in a society that tends to value ambition, toughness, and independence over compassion and empathy. Qualities that are also in short supply these days as we witness leaders who put personal gain over the collective good. That is not how the class of 2020 operates. You are genuinely interested in your classmates' perspectives, and when there is a group decision to be made, you consult with one another, seek input from the quieter voices, and you generate consensus. Fittingly, our 8th grade lunches reflected this dynamic, and it even made for some comedic moments, especially as I recount our lunch at Sambi Canton, where we went 1 week in February in an attempt to expand your dining experiences. The unfamiliarity of the menu, coupled with a server who was slightly impatient and a bit brusque in tone, left you ordering random items without fully vetting your choices or completely understanding what you had requested. The server seemed annoyed, and she made it clear that she did not have time for her table to reconsider side dishes or ask for further clarification regarding entree ingredients. So I leaned over to Ava. I said, "What did you order?" She's like, "I don't know." I couldn't hear her. I didn't even want to ask. I didn't want to upset her. When Ben ordered the pho, I was like, "Oh," or the pho, depending on how you supposed to pronounce that. When he ordered the pho, I said, "Oh, that's a delicious soup." And he looked at me and said, "Oh, that's soup?" I said, "Yeah, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it." And they were all just satisfied with their choices. And if I were in your shoes, I probably would have been agitated. However, you went along with the adventure, laughed together at the mystery of anticipation, and even appreciated the surprising melange of food that arrived on your plates. Further, you were incredibly empathetic toward the server. You were not put off by her demeanor, and instead you recognized she was doing her best to serve customers as quickly as possible during a busy lunchtime rush. Class of 2020, you find the good in any situation. Instead of lamenting a year of lost traditions and canceled trips, you acknowledged the loss, supported one another in the process, and pressed forward. You found ways to look beyond the disappointments and to make the best out of the circumstances. These are unprecedented times. Class of 2020, you are heading into high school amidst a global pandemic and mass protests denouncing hundreds of years of systemic racism, police brutality, and violence against individuals and communities of color. The world needs your compassion and empathy more than ever. And while it is easy to be cynical as I watch the daily news cycle, I stand with you today feeling hopeful that you will chart a different path for our nation's future. Martin Luther King wrote, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." Class of 2020, I look forward to seeing you shine your light beyond the walls of EMS. Before our faculty come and speak on behalf of our graduates today, I want to honor our 9-year students. These 2 students joined Emerald in kindergarten and have since called the school their home through today. Grace Bryce and Lindy Voivodik, and if you can stand so we can acknowledge you. We honor our 9-year students' commitment to the school by painting their names on the ceiling above the front office. It's there right now. Cully came and painted it with love a few weeks ago. Congratulations to each of you. And while I would love for you both to stay 9 more years, I know that you are more than ready for the next step in your educational journey. Now I'm going to ask the faculty are going to come up and they are going to speak on behalf of each graduate. And I'll have the faculty speak and come up here where I am, and I'll have the graduate and come up and stand over there. And then you will, graduates, your diplomas are and a bunch of other great goodies are in those bags, but feel free to come down and just sit back in your seat and you can grab your bags at the end, but that's where your diploma will be. So first we have Jen Friend, and she will be speaking for Grace Bryce.
9 years in the making. Woo! Once in the beautiful mountain town of Steamboat Springs, a little girl with the name of Grace was born. Now, when her parents named her Grace, they may not have realized that her namesake would truly become who she is, a person of grace. You see, Grace spent her early years being free, playing outside, getting dirty, loving her guinea pigs Mario and Luigi, playing with her beloved Goldens, Juno and River, as if they were her siblings, and spending time playing restaurant with Dad and decorating for the holidays with her mom. At the age of 5, Grace embarked on a new adventure. She walked rather shyly with her big eyes, white blonde hair, and dressed to the nines in one of her beautiful dresses, ready to take on any challenge, into what would be her home for the next 9 years, Emerald Mountain School. Now, on that same day, a new teacher to Emerald Mountain School, new to town, new to independent school, also walked through the large brown door etched with an owl, as eager and nervous as this new student. I will never forget that first day when we met. You literally hopped, skipped, and jumped into my math class. All I could think of was how excited you were to learn. You could barely contain your excitement, Grace. You were spinning on the carpet, looking all around the room, chatting with your new friends, taking it all in. From our first meeting 9 years ago, I knew that this was a girl who was going to give it her all in school. So throughout the years, this teacher was able to watch this student do amazing things. One special Halloween, during the Dangle Donuts Challenge, which was always your favorite, wearing the most amazing Tooth Fairy costume, you emerged with chocolate donuts spread across your face and all over your fancy dress. Actually, I think after that year, we decided to go with the glazed donuts only. I'll never forget our first hike together in Fruita when you were in first grade. Upon arriving at the trail before time, you hopped right out of your dad's car, large sun hat on, carrying your mini day pack. But when we all looked down, we noticed that you were wearing your plastic jelly sandals. I think we can thank your dad for that one, as he was the one who got you all set that morning for your hike. And yes, the entire 1.5 miles, you were absolutely miserable, hiking through the fine sand on a sweltering 95-degree day. Come to think of it, maybe that's why you always say that you don't like hiking. We can thank Rex for that one. Your thoughtful gifts that I still have to this day, our matching sun and moon earrings, the necklace that hangs on my rearview mirror, the macrame piece, and all the countless drawings and pictures that you made me are still scattered in my classroom. The countless hours that we spent together, practicing your reading before and after school. The days when you were just sad or worried, happy or excited, and needed to just talk and get some advice. When your mom and you shared your family traditions with the younger students. I'll never forget the time we spent looking for your lost water bottles or other miscellaneous things scattered throughout the school. All of our talks about clothes and fashion and when you would finally outgrow your shoes so you could pass them on to me. Your performances on stage, whether playing your violin or a part in Shakespeare. Grace, you've always been willing to put in extra time, hard work, and dedication needed to overcome any obstacles in front of you. You've always been motivated to continue working and achieving to your greatest potential and to that of your peers. No task too difficult to overcome, no mountain too high to climb, no book too long to read, and no friendship problem not worth fighting for. No matter what is put in front of you or how high the ceiling is, you're able to get over your fears and put 100% into every single thing that you do. You have grit. Grace, you have made a positive impact on your friends, your school siblings, and the whole student body at Emerald Mountain School. You've touched the lives of all the teachers around you as well. When Marianne is teaching in the room off the second floor, she invariably hears you giggling out in the hall while doing your work. Your laugh is clearly distinguishable, and it makes her smile every time she hears it. She adds, your attitude toward your work has inspired us all. Josh will miss your sense of humor. Even though he only got to work with you for 1 year, he always knew that you would have fun and work hard in class. Jed will remember you on stage, and during the weeks leading up, your joking and constant stalling and worrying about your part. He admires how, despite your nervousness, you always auditioned, and you were willing to take on the challenge of performance. He knows how much braver you are than he ever was at your age, and he admires your ability to bring your true personality into the roles you played. The work you committed during the process was worth your effort, and you enjoyed what you had initially hesitated to always believe about yourself. You can do anything, Grace. Many days, Carrie wished that the two of you could just hide away and draw and make art together. You seemed to often hang out together in class, chatting about what you liked when you were 2 and 3 years old. Whenever she did projects where there was a strange and surrealistic humor involved, you always understood it the way Carrie did. She hopes that you'll still come and draw with her at school. What stands out to Dave is your smile. When he thinks of you, he envisions your huge smile looking out of the snow shelter, trying to get a fire going. He knows that you're cold and tired, but that your great attitude will shine through. He saw the same thing from you while biking and in class. You might have fell down a few times, but your smile persevered, and you got back up, and you always kept going. And as a new teacher at Emerald Mountain School, Doug had the good fortune of spending his first 8+ hours on the job with you. Your first words to him were, I hate hiking. But you did not share the same sentiments when it came to talking. On your hike to Gilpin Lake, he learned about your past injuries, your pets, your favorite foods, your birthday party themes, country music obsession, tennis interests, jiu-jitsu holds, books, and the complete, unedited history of the last 8 years of collective EMS history. Now, 2 years later, and after many more conversations, math lessons, hikes, and laughs, Doug will miss his EMS ambassador, tour guide, and historian, you, Grace. He will miss your genuine spirit, your pure kindness, and your unbridled joy. And my favorite moments, how I will never forget the annual Spirit Days at Emerald, Hero Day to be exact, when you asked to dress as me because I was your hero. Well, Grace, the girl of courteous goodwill, although you may have looked up to me as your hero all these years, you truly are my hero. You are a person who is admired and idealized for your courage, outstanding achievements, and noble qualities. You have become your namesake. I'm so proud of the young lady you've grown into. And so the problem of the story is this. How would this teacher me be able to send this student I've had for 9 years on her way? Well, I know that you have all of the tools necessary. You are kind. You are caring. You wear your heart on your sleeve. You are determined and dedicated to your work. You have an amazing family who is always there to support you through anything that comes your way. You see, there isn't an end to this story. This is just the beginning. And Grace, most importantly, I know that although you won't be walking through the wooden door with me this year, you know where I will be. And you know that I'm here, always here to help you with anything that you need. I will miss you, your morning hellos, your smile, your laugh, your honesty, and of course all those days spent hanging out in my room with the younger kiddos during your so-called bathroom breaks. You're going to make a difference in the world, and you're going to leave a lasting impact on everyone you meet, just like you have on me. You will always have a huge piece of my heart, and I yours. Congratulations, Grace. Love your hero, your mentor, your teacher, and your friend.
It is strange to not be able to hug our graduates. EMS is very much a family school, so the virtual hugs will have to do for now, but doesn't mean we don't feel that pride any less. Next up, we have Josh Walters. Come on up, and he will be speaking for Ava Dillon.
I learned yesterday that Ava has been accused of being, what were your words, an emotionless, soulless monster. Next to a weepy teddy bear. We'll see how this goes. So, I'd like to start with an apology, possibly a trigger warning for some of the adults. What I am about to say might bring back traumatic memories of family vacations past. I'm about to say the phrase, "It's a small world after all," exactly 9 times. So if you need to start your self-soothing, this might be a good time. Whenever I used to hear the phrase, "It's a small world after all," it used to send shivers up my spine. I would visualize being stuck in line for a Disney ride that I didn't want to go on in the first place, being serenaded by animatronic creatures over and over by a song that some of you may now have stuck in your head, and I apologize. However, now when I think of Ava Dillon, suddenly "It's a small world after all" takes on a much more positive light. I've had the honor of knowing and working with Ava since her family relocated to Steamboat 4 years ago. During our time together, I have learned that Ava's first true love is Disney, and all things Disney. If you want to keep score, here comes number 3. It's a small world after all. Ava and her family lived in Switzerland before moving to Steamboat. While Switzerland may seem like it's a really far away, as the saying goes, it is a small world after all. Ava is fortunate to have experienced more of the world than a lot of adults have. She speaks multiple languages and has a deep appreciation of the cultures and the people around her. Ava has developed a love for learning that usually comes with travel and life experience. It's not a love of learning in order to earn higher grades, but one that stems from curiosity and a desire to learn from experience and feeling. Ava wants to make the world an even smaller place by the connections she makes within it. This love of learning has also sparked a sense of drive and motivation. When Ava knew she would be joining the Emerald Mountain community, she started studying music to prepare herself. Again, not for the grades, but to understand Mary Ann's string program and learn more about her cello. Ava has a strong urge to keep up with her peers. By getting a head start on her cello, she ensured that she would be as best prepared as possible. Ava has also recently started running and has completed several 10Ks, as well as her first half marathon. Trust me, this was not an attempt to make Dave happy or improve her PE grade. She runs to improve herself and to be connected with her running partners. Who knows, maybe one day she will find a way to use running as a tool to help make the world a smaller, happier, better place. Would any of you be surprised to learn that Ava ran her first half marathon at Disney World? We were reminded of that yesterday, too. Ava understands that it is a small world after all. Even though she spent a majority of her life abroad, Ava has always made it seem like she grew up right here in Steamboat Springs. She has made friends quicker than I have ever seen. Between the two schools where I have worked with Ava, I have watched her peers be drawn to her and seek her friendship. Ava can do this because she has an innate ability to bring joy to everyone around her. Just to see her smile, which unfortunately we can't, you can't resist smiling back. I challenge you to try the next time you're able to see her face. Ava creates, builds, and nourishes these relationships. She has an ability to take the larger world and shrink it to make it fit her relationships. When I first talked to Carolyn, Ava's mother, before they moved to Steamboat, she warned me that her children's idea of American schools was 100% based on High School Musical, Ava's favorite Disney franchise at the time. Ava was very curious to see what our hallways looked like, and she had a million questions. When was the next school dance? Is there a drama club? Can I organize the next talent show? Can I organize the next musical? Can I decorate my locker? Possibly with pictures of Zac Efron? Maybe. While Ava's schools may not have looked or sounded exactly like East High, thanks for the assist, Google, she has done her best to change that. Ava has organized talent shows and plays and takes every opportunity to sing, dance, act, and giggle. Ava has used her drive and work ethic to mold the perception many of us have about our world and change that into her vision of the world. When a person like Ava has the ability to impact the lives of so many people around her, doesn't it make you think that it truly is a small world after all? A few years ago, I survived my worst fear, a family trip to Disney World. We waited in the lines, we rode the rides, we ate the food. Despite my curmudgeonly preconceptions and feet dragging, it turned out to be a wonderful trip. I realized at one point that I was actually enjoying myself. As my family and I strolled through Epcot one evening, I started to hear someone saying, "Josh, Josh, Josh." Having an extremely common name has trained me to ignore random shoutings. But then I felt a tap on my shoulder and was greeted by the most contagious smile of any student I have ever worked with. Of course, Ava was at Disney for possibly the 723rd time, maybe that year. Ava was dancing and smiling and having the time of her life. It was a great reminder that no matter where you are, who you are with, or what you are doing, we should make the most of it and have fun. It also reminded me that, you guessed it, it's a small world after all. So I'd like to thank you, Ava, for being a bright spot in my teaching career, sharing your positive joy, and showing us all what happiness can look like, for reminding us the importance of relationships and connections. So yes, Ava, you are living proof that it is a small world after all, and that world is all yours. Thank you.
All right, I'd like to invite Carrie Searles to come on up, and she will be speaking today on behalf of Jack Good.
Are you ready? I'm not, but we're going to do our best up here, okay? All right. My passions for teaching art mostly lie in the ability to watch students create amazing things, to express themselves and excitedly share their work. However, there is another unknown benefit to my job. Students lose themselves in their art making, forgetting they are in school and that there is still a teacher in the room. During these moments, I am fortunate to learn more of the true personalities of my students. Perhaps the 7th and 8th graders would never believe me when I say how much I have missed their chatter in the last 9 weeks. But it is true. The gossip is just not the same in a Zoom classroom. Jack came to EMS in the middle of last school year. Upon becoming an 8th grader, I noticed some big changes as he grew, increasingly comfortable in his environment and with his peers. Soon, like all his classmates, he started to talk frequently, and inevitably, his words made us all smile, groan, and even laugh out loud. Why? Well, Jack is extremely punny. In fact, I would call him a pun master. My favorite example happened when he came to class one day and declared the current, ongoing situation with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex as a terribly hairy situation. The class laughed, with many saying, "He sounds like my dad." In doing some research for this speech, I learned that puns aren't actually a bad thing. In his article for Best Life website, author Bob Larkin writes, in a 2011 study published in the journal Intelligence, loving the wordplay of a pun could be an indicator that you have higher than average mental agility and are more attractive to potential mates. Another study claims that those who enjoy and use puns are not suffering from social insecurity. I also discovered that there are authentic contests for such punnery, including the 43rd Annual O. Henry Pun-Off World Championships, which will be held Saturday, October 17th, 2020, and I think you should enter. And so, Jack, my final gift to you is finishing this speech using as many puns as possible. Although they seem like jokes, I hope you can hear my heartfelt advice and the care your teachers and I have for you. May nothing lessen your enthusiasm for going to a new school in the fall or the true brilliance of your humor. Clearly, Jack, your future is so bright, your mom and dad will call you son. As an artist, you burst with creativity, technical skill, and sophisticated ideas. Never paint yourself into the corner. That was one of your own I used. Be an artist who dreams in color. It will not be a pigment of your imagination. Keep your pencil sharpened, otherwise making art is pointless. Continue being an artist we can trust, not one who is sketchy, shady, and who always tries to frame you. I think you get the picture. Much of your art was linked to your studies in math, even though your math teacher, Doug, has problems. He loved hearing some of your nerdy math jokes and the comics you drew on your homework assignments. As a mathematics student, he would never call you average. That would be mean. Like an equal sign, you are quite humble. You never think you are greater than or less than anyone else. You always think outside the quadrilateral. Always remember that you have to be odd to be number one. An intelligent student such as yourself shouldn't be intimidated by any further studies in math. It's as easy as pi. One minor complaint I heard from teachers was about your habit of always eating in class. My conclusion is a little payback for our putting up with that. Aren't you so excited for this part? Really, let's cut to the cheese and let us celebrate your graduation. You better believe it that we donut take it lightly and that it has been so nice to meet you. As you go forward, always take the path of yeast resistance, but still give people something to talk about. If you meet someone who seems like they don't care at all, remember, it's not your problem. Whenever you feel like you're in a pickle, it's probably not a big deal. Pretty peas, come back to visit so we can catch up, or you'll go bake in our hearts. Thanks a lot for being an excellent student at Emerald and for your friend Chip. Goodbye and gooda luck. Thank you, Jack. I'm so glad I met you.
Next up, we have Doug Davis, who will be speaking on behalf of Ben Heffel.
You will learn more from your students than they will learn from you. During my initial summer teaching training program, I heard these words often. I was a new Teach for America Corps member in Phoenix, Arizona, tasked with helping a cohort of high schoolers earn much-needed science credit. I knew the stakes were high for my students. Without a biology credit earned during our summer class, many of the students before me would be without a high school diploma. My mentor and veteran teacher echoed those same words as I prepped for my first teaching lesson. You will be surprised how much you learn from these students. I imagined the words as a pep talk, to help me feel less intimidated by the enormity of the task. I assumed that really I would be the one with the lessons, the knowledge, the advice for the future, me the link between diploma and a better future. With the benefit of hindsight and more years in the classroom, I have come to wholeheartedly embrace those initial words of advice about learning from my students. That first summer, I quickly realized that I didn't have all the answers. In fact, without the guidance and trust from an 18-year-old former dropout, I might not have had the courage to complete my summer training program. That student, a young man named Kazi, showed me how to have the courage to believe in myself, long before he learned the ins and outs of Punnett squares and mitosis from me. In Steamboat, with our semester and world altered by a pandemic and physical isolation, I've had plenty of time to reflect. From my first day in the classroom in Phoenix to these final hours of the school year, I have learned so much from my students. Our EMS graduating class of 2020 has done nothing short of amaze me with their daily insights and their lessons. From the beautiful music they have created to the quirky puns and cartoons that show up on my walls and desk, to their ambitions in athletics, their service to their community, and to their upbeat attitude in the face of uncertainty, I have learned much. Today, I have the honor of speaking about one of these incredible graduates. In this time of reflection, in the spirit of learning from our students, I have chosen to share the top lessons I have learned from this special graduate. Lesson 3. As educators, we hope that our students will develop a curiosity around the content we teach. We hope that they will extend lessons from their texts into real-life contexts. Never did I think that linear equations, rate of change, speed, or slope of a line would find their way into such meaning and context. Never did I think they would be explored and utilized in a deep dive student project on the working of ski lifts. To my surprise and amazement, Ben Heffel brought our algebra lessons to life in a personal passion project built around Steamboat's lift system. Ben's project became an almost daily after-school session. Ben would bring me updates to his growing Excel spreadsheet where he crunched data on some of our favorite lifts. And for the record, we both are in agreement that despite its dismal speed, Bar UE is the best. I watched Ben's piqued curiosity blossom into a bona fide expertise in the engineering and operation of lift systems. When the new gondola went abruptly offline, it was Ben who gave me a detailed prognosis. His immersion into the attributes of the lift system allowed him to recognize patterns, see where bottlenecks would occur, and predict what type of lift would be the most beneficial as expansions continued at the mountain. I learned from Ben that our curiosity is the catalyst for finding real meaning and purpose. Lesson 2. Nothing helps us drop our guard and connect to one another quicker than humor. Ben, you remind me of this daily. Your comic relief is subtle and hilarious. I have laughed with you as we watched your curated selection of YouTube videos. One day it was learning the right teenage lingo. The next it was a lesson about connecting electrical circuits at the expense of minor electrocution. And most recently, I laughed out loud as you shared your subtle humor with the entire EMS community during the talent show. I never thought a dancing bobcat would lift our spirits during quarantine, but it definitely brightened my day. Ben, you have shown me that humor is often the best way to help someone else during a tough time. You make us laugh because you know it will make us feel whole. Lesson 1. As teachers at EMS, we spend a great deal of time imagining the traits, the personalities we wish for our Emerald graduates. In fact, we have articulated these ideas into a portrait of traits and attributes that an outstanding graduate would cultivate in their years at EMS. More important than their content savvy or public speaking prowess, we wish for kindness in our students. People with empathy, the power to connect with their communities. Back in September, under the glow of aspens just around the corner and under that beautiful mountain, I walked down a dirt ranch lane with you, Ben. Like today, our plans had been altered. An attempt at a multi-day backpacking trip to complete the Zirkle Circle was scrapped as early snowstorms were predicted in the high country. Instead, we decamped to the Rothers' beautiful ranch. Feeling guilty that we would not be able to deliver the trip we had imagined, I was grateful for Ben's upbeat positivity. As we walked down the lane to ensure gates were locked and everything was buttoned up for his guests, I saw how undeterred Ben was about the changes. This was his culminating 8th grade outdoor backpacking trip. It was a sort of rite of passage, where 8th graders could boast about miles traveled, summits bagged. However, Ben, you did not seem concerned by any personal loss. You only imagined how your fellow students were feeling, if they were comfortable, doing well. I watched Ben offer up his family home with genuine kindness. I heard him check in with his peers about blister hot spots and give words of encouragement when the trail turned to snow, and for some the challenge seemed insurmountable. I watched him celebrate with his classmates after we all persevered and completed the Zirkle Circle together. Ben, you have helped me remember that in times of uncertainty, all we can really do is offer our spirit, our warmth, and our kindness. And often that is what is most needed. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for showing us that despite isolation, we can all laugh and see the beauty in a bobcat pirouette. Thank you for teaching me and allowing me the privilege to be a student again. Thank you for teaching me, per the data, what lift to avoid on a powder day. Thank you for teaching me about modeling kindness and putting the needs of others above your own. You are the portrait of an Emerald graduate we wish for all our students. You are destined for great adventures as your journey continues to high school and beyond, and we wish you all the best.
I should keep that up there. Next, we have Jed Donnell speaking on behalf of Lindy Voivodek.
Lindy, you pursue your academics with the mentality of a true scholar, with passion, with insight, with humility, and with maturity that transcends your years. As a result, you are forever learning, whether in or out of the classroom, and you have thereby discovered the means for a life of true fulfillment. Cicero was a Roman statesman and philosopher. He was certainly influential in attempting to hold together the Republic before Rome's power came under a string of Caesars, though he is perhaps best remembered for his eloquence and perspective on humanism. Cicero famously stated, "If you have a garden and a library, you have everything you need." His point is founded on the idea of cultivation. To be healthy, a garden must be tended and cared for, weeded and fed. If it is cared for in such a manner, it will thrive. In the same way, the mind must be fed with new ideas, and its ethical concerns challenged and reaffirmed by the consideration and rejection of bad ideas. The mind is a garden, and as Cicero notes, its best food comes from books, all books. Cicero's influence on later thinkers has lasted for thousands of years, and he was especially influential on several figures of the Enlightenment. Among them, the philosopher and writer Montesquieu, whose works I am sure you will enjoy reading someday, invoked Cicero's notion of cultivation when he stated, "False happiness renders men stern and proud, and that happiness is never communicated. True happiness renders them kind and sensible, and that happiness is always shared." Montesquieu proposes, therefore, what you already know, and what I believe is perhaps your best quality, that a cultivated mind translates to happiness as one seeks a healthy exchange of ideas with others. In my brief time working with you, I've seen your pursuit of ideas every day, and it is especially laudable because it is always double in basis. You pursue knowledge for yourself, honestly and while open to challenge, and you seek to share ideas with others and gain from their perspectives, respectfully and with integrity. The very reasons, therefore, why you are never quite fully satisfied with any outcome are entirely admirable, since you do not desire for the pursuit of your ideas to end. There should not be an ending to thinking. Rather, you find solace in deep thought, and you share your happiness with others, all of which cultivates your mind. Few adults are so fortunate. When I was new to EMS, having arrived in the spring term and never having taught 5th or 6th grade, in fact, having only taught 1 year of middle school, and that many years ago, I was very much flying by the seat of my pants. Nervous, unsure, needing to experiment, but initially narrow in my perspective. You are one of the students who helped me to find my bearings. You are hungry for knowledge, for feedback, for revision, for improvement, and you thereby spurred me to adjust my outlook so as to accommodate your intellectual pursuits. I needed to cultivate my own mind to share ideas more effectively with you, realizing, happily, that you were already willing to share yours with me. I've seen the same attributes from you on the stage. You play the cello with both conviction and artistry, aware of what is required and technical, though likewise able and willing to lend your own interpretation and make any piece uniquely yours. Clearly you work hard in preparation, since you care about the transfer of your performance to your audience and the sharing of your work. That is art. It requires bravery and honesty, both of which you embody. I saw the same in your acting over 3 performances for my class, a venue that is less natural for you, and, I believe, therefore, all the more admirable, since you stretched your own comfort to explore new ideas within a context that felt foreign to you. And you delivered on each occasion, having worked hard to learn the roles. You clearly enjoyed the process of delivering them, for which your audience rightly returned their appreciation. Most notable for me, as a parent, has been your profound influence on my daughter. You are an outstanding role model for her, calm, determined, setting high expectations for yourself while caring for those around you in their own pursuits. It is immeasurably valuable for her to have an older student like you to emulate. And you've taught her in ways that I cannot. I am forever grateful for your interactions with her. The current pandemic offers me, as an adult, what often feels like a devastating view of false and negligent leadership at the national level. Even in the past few days since I originally wrote this speech, that devastation has deepened. We should not be in this predicament. And your generation, while directly affected, is completely innocent. At times, I suppose I feel somewhat like Cicero watching the fall of the Republic, though without the same sense of articulation or social impact. However, when I stop to gain my bearings and remember what truly matters, I also see great opportunity, especially within youth who hold perspectives like yours. You have the ability for uplifting change. You can shape the future of the world, and the world will need leaders like you, compassionate, wise, honest, demanding of yourself, and patient with others. Your accomplishments to date are certainly impressive, and your potential is without limit. For all of us who have been fortunate to work with you, you therefore offer happiness in the present and hope for the future. It has been my pleasure to teach you, and it was only a short portion of your lifelong cultivation of your garden. Congratulations on your various successes in middle school. I look forward to seeing what more you produce in the years to come.
Dave Mars will come up and speak about Mihaela Wyatt.
Among everything else that has occurred during this epidemic, robbery has to be at the top of the list. No, it wasn't anything physical like a car or television. I still have my phone and wallet. It was not money or possessions, but yes, you can't laugh. I can't. The amount of things taken has been very upsetting, to say the least. Arguably, they are more valuable than the loss of jewelry or even a car. What has been so rudely and abruptly snatched away are real-world experiences. Our world so quickly came to a virtual standstill, yet we have been asked to trudge on week after week, adjusting to the changes happening around us and all across the globe. It is hard, nearly impossible, to think about what may have been had this epidemic not exploded. It is a humbling reminder as to our place on Earth. While I am taken aback at how fundamentally things have changed, I recently also have had many opportunities to reflect on the adjustments our graduates have made to make and what that says about them. Our times have changed, but we will move forward in new and unique ways as much as a result of our experiences during these difficult days. We will come to terms with the loss of experiences like the Peru trip. Adaptation, out-of-the-box ideas, and innovation will be the lead words. In Mihaela, I have seen the foundations of what a good and productive citizen should be, especially during these times of crisis. Mihaela has shown heart and perseverance. During upheaval and stress, She has shown us what it takes, or what it means, to pick yourself up and continue on. As she did before the pandemic and during the fall hiking trip, Mihaela put one foot in front of the other, through questionable weather and long mileage, until the group reached the trailhead. Some of you surely know of her fascination with black holes. I cannot express how many outlandish situations involving black holes have been envisioned by her during an average class period. Dave, if I send a text from a black hole, will my friends get it more slowly than if I sent it from my house? Dave, how small could a black hole be and still be considered a hole? Each opinion that I gave, and who knows if they were even close to the truth, was followed up by, but, preceding another lengthy hypothesis. While I wish I had a clear answer for any of her speculations and questions, what I did notice was the very real procedure of her using inquiry and process to move through a complex speculation. By pestering me with topics that I could not possibly answer in clear terms, she actually was using me as a chalkboard. The veracity of my responses really did not matter, so much as the method by which she was trying to reach answers. It was the journey towards discovery rather than the destination that was most inspiring. Mihaela, the queen of the original slides and PowerPoint backgrounds, loves to include her own confidence and creativity on any assignment. What are you doing? How are you out? Come here. Come on. Boy, I really lost it there. She isn't happy with the same old just pick one format of creating a presentation. She needs to make them her own, and she is willing to put in the time and work to meet her expectation. She has the confidence to take on a new topic with gusto, and she has the ability to think outside of the box, a huge benefit during these challenging days. Mihaela has shown heart and gratitude. She doesn't take much for granted. She is appreciative of help and advice. She always seems to be there for her friends, repaying their friendship with stout shoulders and a strong back to help take the heavy load that they may be carrying. Mihaela always has been astute enough to say thank you after every class, even each virtual Zoom class, and to seek and listen to constructive criticism from faculty. Mihaela is a representative of what we will need in the coming years to flourish as members of our global community. Her love for life, friends, and knowledge are important parts of finding success, and they transcend the limitations of remote correspondence. We will need individuals with the ability to think outside of the box and the ability to act upon their creative ideas. We also will rely on those who learn from their mistakes in order to improve. Mihaela, you have the ability to truly shine as you move on in the next stages of your life. Bring that smile, those curls, and that sparkle in your eye to every event, challenge, and accomplishment. You truly have helped me to recognize some of the most important parts of my life. Oh, and if you ever make it to the other side of a black hole, please make sure to send your first text to me. All right. Congratulations, my chatty buddy. Nice work. Real quickly, the whole chatty buddy.
I'm going to call each graduate's name. You are going to come and grab, you have a bag with your name on it. Normally, the tradition after an EMS graduation is that we all move into the fellowship hall and enjoy some cake together and celebrate as a community. And since we could not do that, we have brought the party to you along with some special messages from your classmates. So one last time, I'm going to call each graduate. Please go up. You can grab your bag, and then you can go and give your family a big hug. And then parents, we will also be taking photos of the graduates in the back with a beautiful view of the lake. So we'll go ahead and make that happen and call you over individually so we can get some photos of you without masks, with your diploma, in this gorgeous setting. So first, I invite Grace Elizabeth Bryce. Come and grab your diploma. Ava Nicole Dillon. Jackson QB Good. Benjamin Hayes Heffel. Lindy Claire Voivodek. Mahala Reese Wyant. Thank you everyone for coming. We'll go ahead and take some photographs in the back. Thank you.